What's up, everyone? I'm the Kaiju no Kami from the Toku and Animation News Network, and today I'm taking a look at IDW's recently released 70th Anniversary Godzilla Special. To commemorate Godzilla's 70th birthday, IDW released a comic book that contains 9 different short stories that revolve around Godzilla. Each story is written and drawn by various writers and artists to the point that it is easier if you just pause this video and read the credits before you. Yeah, I'm being kinda lazy. Too bad. Are these stories worth remembering, or is this issue very disrespectful to the Big G's legacy? Watch to find out. The characters and plot. As I said, there are 9 separate stories, all containing their own characters and plot. Our first story, The Half-Century Boar, is set in Istanbul in 1971 and features Godzilla battling Hedorah while a couple of new recruits to the military are tasked with cleanup duties. It's a pretty funny story and you can't help but feel bad for the dudes at the end. Next up is Contagion. Contagion revolves around a man-made virus that the government got careless with, allowing a fly to mutate with it. Naturally, it is up to Godzilla to save the world. Overall, it's kinda boring, but the art kicks ass. Of Gods and Con Artists is the name of the third tale. Revolving around, well, a con artist. He's in the midst of ripping off a crime syndicate when Godzilla traverses the city. Of course, that con man finds himself not exactly in the greatest of situations, but that's kind of his own problem. It is an interesting story and works thanks to only being a handful of pages in length. From there comes In the Shadow of a God, which is written and drawn by longtime associate Matt Frank. It kind of reminds me of the Miyazaki film Ponyo, but instead of a little mermaid creature, it's about a girl who finds a trilobite in Godzilla's footprint. It's a simple story that is very intriguing thanks to its monochromatic art style. In the Darkness revolves around a neglected boy who imagines himself being chased by Godzilla on his way to bed. Jet Jaguar arrives to save the day as well. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who thought of All Monsters Attack while reading this story. Continuing, we have The Big One. This story is centered around a group of people trying to get away from giant slug-like creatures while Godzilla battles a monstrous-sized one. I'm a bit confused on the relationship of these characters, as I can't tell if they are supposed to be a family or just a bunch of neighbors, or a combination of the two. Either way, outside of the slug creatures, it was probably my least favorite tale in the book. Ain't No Place for an Angel is set in a town run by women and only women. Of course, that isn't the only thing protecting the town, as a lone gunman discovers when he aims to make trouble. He isn't the only one there to make a scene, as Baragon rises from the ground to make his own mark on the town. Like The Big One, I have mixed feelings on this story, but at least it left a better taste in my mouth. The second to last story is titled In Summation. This one is written like a diary by a man named Tomoyuki Abrams, who was born on the day Godzilla first attacked Japan, and his father was one of the many victims. It goes through his life story for 70 years as he became a kaiju researcher. This might actually be my favorite of them all, as how everything is depicted plays out like a love letter to the Showa era of Godzilla. It even feels like a natural progression of what may have occurred had the Showa era continued beyond Terror of Mechagodzilla. Aftermath is the final story on display. It's about a nurse who survived Godzilla's attack, and she goes around helping those she comes across. We also meet some bigwig who's in charge of a pharmaceutical company that is looking to profit from the attack. Soon, the nurse's entire entourage decides they have to take matters into their own hands when it comes to finding a solution. The ending has a nice little twist to it, though I can't say this is my favorite of the stories. Overall, for what this book brought to the table, it was quite enjoyable. If I had one major criticism about it, it is that I do wish they had stories to encompass all eras of Godzilla. There's definitely some Showa love going on, but not much in the way of the Millennium era. I think having a few of the stories mimic the tones from that would have enhanced what was already a solid run of entertainment. The monsters. We've got a nice little variety of monsters depicted throughout. Obviously, the main attraction is Godzilla, whose design changes in each story. Mothra, Mechagodzilla, Baragon, Jet Jaguar, Biollante, Hedorah, and some new creatures all make their presence known. I was surprised to see Ghidorah remain absent from any of these stories, but that was actually kind of nice since I feel like IDW has overused him. The slug creatures deserve better than what they got. The artwork. There are a lot of styles being used, and I can't say that I hated a single one of them. They all worked within the confines of the stories they were telling, but that does not mean I can't pick favorites. The dark colors used in Contagion reminded me of Here There Be Dragons. I especially love the panels toward the end of the story that featured the monsters looking like silhouettes, which also helped the blues pop off the pages. The con artist story had a well done panel with Godzilla battling Biollante in the background that added a unique flavor to its artwork. Naturally, the black and white style Matt Frank White provided to his story with a touch of red made me think of Frank Miller's Sin City. I also loved how mean his Godzilla looked. In the Darkness had that moment of the boy turning off the light and we just see Godzilla's eyes staring at him in the black background that was outstanding. Both Ain't No Place for an Angel and Aftermath made some really great use of pinks and oranges in their narratives. My favorite piece from In Summation was this page where we see Godzilla standing over an exploding volcano. The yellow lava spewing forth really complements the gray-scaled monster and sky very well. I really enjoyed reading the various stories from this book. They were all unique, and even if they didn't fully work for me, I didn't mind. The art is great, and this really was an enjoyable way to celebrate 70 years of Godzilla. Definitely give this one a read. Until next time, bye! Even the ones that didn't work out for me too well were still unique enough that it was well worth the Even the ones that didn't do anything for me, they were unique enough to warrant my... And the art was so great that it really was worth the